National Emergency Management Agency to develop comprehensive documents for disaster risk management. Stay away from drug in view of its devastating effects. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency advises users. I am Felicia Dalio Samaila. Do remember you can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online and on other social media platforms showing on your screen. Panorama is coming to you live from NTA Network Center, Jos. President Bola Tinubu has reassured foreign investors of easy repatriation of funds and streamlining of multi-taxes as he urged interested countries to explore more areas of trade relations that will be mutually beneficial between them and Nigeria. The president pressed home his administration's commitments to a healthy bilateral relations as he received new envoys from Hungary, Rwanda and Ukraine at the State House. State House correspondent Musbau Nanwahab reports.
Christopher Bazivano is the new High Commissioner of Rwanda in Nigeria. He came into the receptive hands of President Bola Tinubu, a warm reception reminiscent of how Nigeria accepted bilateral relations with Rwanda immediately after its independence in 1962. The 61-year-old relations have been mutually beneficial with cooperations in military training, air transport, among others. It's a reassuring meeting as President Bola Tinubu cleared all doubt, saying the process to ease repatriation of funds and multiplicity of taxation is in the works to make Nigeria an investor's delight. On the other hand, the Rwandan High Commissioner said his country is prepared to enhance bilateral relations with Nigeria with new visa policies and trade agreements.
We have very good ties with them. President Kagame was here during the swearing in of President Bola Tinubu, and they've been meeting on the world stage and been collaborating. There's a lot happening. Air Rwanda flies to Nigeria, their trade relations, and of course the Technical Aid Corps under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs provides support by providing them with teachers, with clerks, with all sorts of skilled workers.
The new ambassador of Hungary, Laurent Endrifi, also presented the letter recalling his predecessor and announcing his own appointments. The relationship between Nigeria and the Central European country has grown since 1964, and now President Tinubu is urging the new ambassador to explore all opportunities of building partnership, especially in the areas of agriculture, security and food security, while hoping to leverage the country's experience in technology.
A lot of Nigerians go to medical school in Hungary. We buy a lot of pharmaceuticals from them, and agricultural products go back and forth between us. So again, in terms of the history, there are a lot of Nigerians that went to school in Hungary, going back to the years when we had the crash course program, and even present time where you have a lot of medical students.
As he received the new Ukrainian ambassador, Ivan Kolostenko, President Tinubu said Nigeria will always work for global peace and harmony. The new envoys were earlier received with a guard of honor by the Presidential Brigade of Guard. Meanwhile, the Foreign Affairs Committees of both chambers of the National Assembly have commended the decisions taken so far by the President on bilateral relations and foreign policy.
Hopefully, we'll start seeing some changes with regards to our foreign policies that will be clear and well understood by all concerned to ensure that Nigeria and Nigerians are given the right place in the international scene.
We assured him of all the necessary support from the National Assembly and gave some advice on one or two things, how things can be improved.
The chairmen of both committees were guests of the president. From the State House, Musbau Dan Wahab, NTA News.
The Northern Governors Forum has applauded the manner in which the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, handles the issue of Tudunbiri drone misfire. Chairman of the forum and Governor of Gombe State, Mohammed Inwar Yahya, stated this at the end of the 19th Northern Governors meeting in Kaduna. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
Governors from the 19 northern states arrived to Government House Kaduna for the inaugural meeting of the Northern State Governors Forum to discuss issues affecting the region, ranging from the challenges of insecurity, climate change, the decline in human capital development indices, collapse of industries, to develop a common operational plan to tackle some of these lingering issues crippling the development of the region for many years.
We must show collective efforts in addressing those issues by adopting policies that promote sustainable agriculture, rural resilience, conflict mitigation, and responsible resource management. We must take advantage of green financing opportunities in order to harness our vast energy potentials.
We must develop a common strategy and operational plan to tackle insecurity. We must establish a command and control center to coordinate our joint effort against terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, and other criminal elements in our region.
On the issue of the Tudunbiri bomb misfire, the governors called for a thorough investigation to find out the real cause of the incident. A minute's silence was observed in respect of the victims of Tudunbiri drum misfire who lost their lives before the meeting goes into a closed door with a communique expected at the end of their deliberations. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA.
Quest to walk the path of redesigning the outlook of Nigeria to the outside world, Nigeria is targeting annual revenue generation in millions of dollars if the cultural potential of the creative industry can be fully harnessed. This was the submission of the Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy while defending the proposed appropriation of the ministry for year 2024. National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide tells us more on this and other budget defense sessions.
With 67% budget performance of year 2023, the Senate Committee is interested in the roadmap, aspirations and projection for year 2024.
That figure should be separated to the different ministries: information and national orientation, culture, arts, culture and creative economy, and tourism. They should separate them and give them their own.
Defending the proposed 2024 budget estimate of 6.7 billion naira and revenue projection of 700 million naira, the Minister, Anatu Musawa, said the ministry is capable of promoting the arts and crafts industry through specialized exhibitions, expos and others.
This is really the roadmap. Like I said, it's the economic growth, it's about job creation, it's about capacity building, it's about repositioning Nigeria and so many other things that we can do in terms of harnessing the culture and creativity of Nigeria. But that can only be done with the financial support.
The committee agrees with the ministry on the exigency of establishment of National Museum, National Theatre and National Gallery in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Meanwhile, the 10th National Assembly's Joint Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions held its maiden interactive session with the delegation of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
We would like you to explain to us as to how you want to balance your monetary policy stance.
Inflation pressures may persist in the short term, but is expected to decline in 2024. Exchange rate pressures are also expected to reduce significantly with a smooth functioning of the foreign exchange market.
The deliberation also extends to issues bordering on economic development and growth, cash supply in the system, global crude oil prices, and strategies CBN is employing to salvage the situation. From the National Assembly, Joshua Ogujide, NTA News.
From budget defense to nutrition matters, a high-powered nutrition core working committee has been inaugurated by the federal government in a bid to address severe acute malnutrition in the country. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that Vice President Kashim Shettima at the inauguration emphasized the importance of coordination and collaboration with the National Committee on Food and Nutrition.
Critical body will spearhead the fight against hunger and malnutrition across Nigeria, determined to upturn the negative nutrition indices. Citing example with his recent visit to communities of Tudumbiri village in Kaduna State, the Vice President says he has witnessed a tragic plight of a malnourished child caught in the unfortunate military drone strike. Highlighting Nigeria's immense potential for prosperity, the Vice President's passion for the cause was evident as he pledged unwavering support to the committee. He expressed a resolute commitment to breaking the cycle of poverty and malnutrition, reminding the committee members of their shared responsibility.
We have about 33% of stunting rates in Nigeria, which is really high. About 88 out of 100 children are most likely not able to get to the age of 5 as a result of nutrition. It's also cost an economic burden of over $2.5 billion. So these are some of the actions that the Nutrition Core Working Group will be looking at to change, like I said, the narrative and to make sure we have measurable outcomes that would shift the needle of the malnutrition challenges here in Nigeria.
Synergize our efforts more. Right now, there's a lot of siloed efforts going on. So people are working on different things. Some people are working on CMAM, some people are working on prevention, some people are working on agriculture, some people are working on RUTF. And really the idea is, how do we put everybody's efforts together so that we're all moving in the same direction and we can count the impact together of what we're doing. So that's what we'll do differently.
Committee members emphasized the need for a dedicated delivery unit within the Vice President's office to track progress and hold all stakeholders accountable. They also advocated the establishment of nutrition department across all government ministries and agencies, both at national and subnational levels. The committee's mandate extends beyond healthcare, encompassing education and the broader socio-economic impact of malnutrition. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Other news, Plateau State Commander of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Bello Mustafa Yahuza, says the command has recorded significant strides in curtailing activities of illicit drug traffickers and drug use with the arrest and seizure from January to December 2023. He gave this indication in Jos while speaking on their activities. Priscilla Grumnan has details.
While giving a rundown of activities of the command from January to December 2023, the commander says the command is not resting on its oars to ensure it rids the state of illicit drugs and drug use. He notes that apart from the significant number of arrests and seizures made, sensitization programs have also been organized towards curbing the menace of drugs in the state.
3 tons of various drugs were seized from January to the month of December in this year 2023. Over 80 public sensitization and other advocacy activities were carried out in schools, marketplaces, and other relevant areas to sensitize and draw the attention of the public about the dangers of illicit trafficking and abuse. Similarly, our prosecution department have been on its toes to ensure that all persons charged to court will face the wrath of the law This year alone, from January to this moment, over 97 cases. We have recorded over 97 record of convictions from different range of years.
The commander calls on the public to assist the NDLEA with useful and timely information on activities of illicit drug traffickers to ensure they are arrested and prosecuted.
The general public should understand that our job is humanitarian. While we assist to ensure law and order in Plateau State, security of life and properties, because drug abuse and drug illicit trafficking is the catalyst to all forms of crime. All the major threats to security, including kidnapping, banditry, insurgency, wouldn't have been possible without the influence of drug abuse.
He further advises parents and other relevant stakeholders to join hands in the fight against drug trafficking. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Still on drug matters, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA Sokoto Command has arrested a drug baron suspected of instigating the murder of its officer during an operation early this year in Bodinga local government area of Sokoto State. The commander NDLEA Sokoto State Command, Adamu Iro Mohammed, discloses to newsmen that the suspect was apprehended in a joint security operation. Also paraded were 59 suspected drug dealers and users arrested in possession of illegal substances during various operations in the capital city, Sokoto. Panorama continues after this break. Stay with us.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Still on to Panorama. The National Emergency Management Agency says it is exploring ways of reducing the rates of occurrence of boat accidents that have resulted in the loss of several lives in the riverine communities, particularly along rivers Niger and Benue. Director General of the agency, Habib Ahmed, gave this indication at a stakeholders workshop on the development of National Disaster Risk Reduction Strategy and Action Plan 2023 to 2030. Ijoma Ozamena reports.
Gathered here as stakeholders brainstorming on the development of National Disaster Risk Reduction Strategy and Action Plan 2023 to 2030. The recent escalation and growing frequency of disasters in form of banditry, boat mishaps, building collapse, urban and market fire, coupled with hydrometeorological hazard powered by climate change and variability, have ignited the compelling desire to develop the management plan.
We in the zone have now given our own contribution towards making that framework robust.
As a policymaker here, I hope that I'll be able to implement it in my own organization by creating awareness.
Director General of NEMA, Mustafa Ahmed, in a message to the workshop, stressed the need for the development of the plan arising from the outcomes of the assessment conducted by Overseas Development Institute on the Solid Resilience Program.
These documents we are trying to develop is to spell out strategies that will be put in place in order that these risks we have mentioned are minimized.
By achieving this is collating or bringing all the stakeholders to develop their own, they own it themselves, as to be able to cascade it.
The workshop is under the Sahel Resilience Project with a theme strengthening capacities for disaster reduction and adaptation for resilience in the Sahel region. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
And we have with us in the studio Adegbe Moses Ope, Principal Disaster Risk Reduction Officer, NEMA, North Central Zone of Zonal Office, Jos. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. Recently, your recent workshop was on the development of National Disaster Risk Reduction Strategy and Action Plan 2023 to 2030. What prompted this initiative?
All right. Primarily, there's a document called the Sendai Framework, the United Nations Sendai Framework, and all signatories or member countries are supposed to do a step down or a localization of this document. That is what prompted the workshop. It's an agenda, is a drive to pass down the message to the grassroots.
Okay, now how will the country benefit from the Sahel Resistance project, which focuses on strengthening capacities for disaster risk reduction?
Yes, Nigeria stands a great deal to benefit from the workshop, as it brings the stakeholders to the board to design the implementation strategy. So it's going to strengthen capacity, it's going to align the country in the line of the Sendai Framework so as to prepare. Preparedness is key in every agenda on the earth. So we are prepared, we will be better positioned to manage disasters.
Okay, the training also focused on need to develop comprehensive documents for disaster risk management for Nigeria. Can you shed more light on that?
All right, the Sendai Framework Target E says substantially increase the number of countries that has national and local disaster risk reduction strategies by 2020. In other sense, there is a drive to increase local awareness about risk. People face risk every day, but they are not even aware of what they are facing. So the workshop is to drive awareness, to drive it to the grassroots and encourage or build capacities of these grassroots.
Okay, what will be your message for victims of various disasters across the country?
It's a message of hope. There is, they're saying that if a tree be cut down at the center of waters, the tree will sprout again. And in disaster management, we don't gather our eggs in one basket. We spread our eggs in strategic positions so that in the event of disasters, the risk or the loss will be minimal.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on Panorama. Mr. Adegbe Moses Ope, Principal Disaster Risk Reduction Officer, NEMA, North Central Zonal Office. Thank you so much. Up next is Sports Updates.
Are the champions of the maiden edition of the Admiral Superintendent Volleyball Championship in Lagos. The team defeated Team Western Naval Command 3-2 during the tension-soaked final.
Have a very strong volleyball playing community in the Navy. So it's not surprising that we have this kind of activities coming up here.
Meanwhile, it was an interesting final at the Aguiyi-Ironsi Cantonment Sports Complex Abuja, where the 24th annual Nigerian's President National Peace Under-20 Male Youth Football Tournament tagged Renewed Hope Agenda Clamas as Top Rovers Football Club Abuja defeated Royal International Academic 4-1 through penalties.
Some also grassroots coaches too in the country that monitors our activities and at the same time even pick the hidden talented ones too.
In another development, after many years of setback, FIFA has approved about 30 Nigerian referees on their 2024 international list. Among them are 11 referees and 11 assistant referees, 4 beach soccer referees and 4 futsal referees. The 11 referees include Bashir Salisu, Ogebo Joseph, Olufumilayo Alaba, Nuruddin Abubakar, and finally Team Bayelsa State, champions of the 2023 National Para Games in Abuja, are still in the euphoria of celebration as the Youth and Sport Commissioner Daniel Igali has commended the athletes for their excellent performance.
As it prides itself in putting maximum effort in our athletes.
Bayelsa State won 33 gold, 24 silver, and 20 bronze medals to emerge champions. With sport updates, Peter Oibo, NTA News.
That has been Panorama today from Jos. Continue to enjoy our programs.